Hey there everybody, how's it going? Today is Wednesday, June 21st, 2017. I do not have anything really planned for today that's vlog worthy. So because of that, I went ahead and actually vlogged a much more important event yesterday that took place. The Vigil for Sister Nabra at UTD. But I'm gonna stop here and I'll let the past Mustafa take it away.
Hey guys, how's it going? So like the President Mustafa said, that there is a vigil today for Sister Nabra, the one who was murdered the other night coming back from Suhoor. We are having a vigil for her here at UTD Dallas, so let's go check it out, inshallah. We're just a tiny bit late, but it's okay. There's a lot of people here, alhamdulillah. We need to show up and show support, mashallah. There's a lot of people.
On behalf of the MSA and the Youth Council Council, thank you for the care, for organizing everything, for bringing the speakers to the candles. Jazakallah khair. And with that, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'll give this to Hanan.
I just wanted to give a brief overview of what happened to Nabra Hassanen on Sunday morning. I'm sure as many of you guys already know, the details are horrific, but Nabra was walking back to the masjid, Adam's Masjid in Virginia, with her friends from McDonald's after eating Suhoor. They had prayed Qiyam al-Layl, and they were returning to the masjid for Fajr Salah, for Fajr prayer, the first prayer of the day. And on that walk back, they were harassed, and Nabra fell while the other girls were able to run away. She was trapped, and she was abducted, and after that point, killed. Her body was found later that day in a pond. As you can imagine, this murder is not only a tragedy for that community and unbelievably difficult to handle and be comforted over for her family and friends in Virginia, but also Muslims across the country, because I think, at least speaking for myself, I can see myself in her position. I think many of us go to IHOP Suhoors, or we gather together, and in our homes and in our masjids and in our communities we feel safe, but that safety and security isn't always guaranteed, and that thought is terrifying in and of itself. So thank you all again for being at this event, where we're emphasizing how important it is that our youth, while are able to be free and happy and live in this country religious and able to practice the way they prefer, others may not necessarily see that as a right that we have. So again, thank you for attending this event. Next, performing, we have Bilal Moon, who will be presenting a poem.
I want to make it clear real quick that it is okay to feel angry about these types of events. We should feel angry. Though I believe that progress is made when we find that harmony between anger and patience. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask God to help us find that harmony and to act on it, and to grant Sister Nabra and all the righteous souls who have passed the highest place in heaven, and strengthen patience and to ease the pain of those who have lost their loved ones. I was reading an article where Sister Nabra's sister, she's 3 years old, and she asked her father, when is my big sister coming home? And her father didn't know what to say. And I think about that, and I'm 24, and if my father had to explain to me that my sister was never coming home, there are no words that could make me understand that reality. There are no words that can explain this tragedy. And so when I'm asked to perform a poem, there's nothing I can say that can cure these negative emotions. But bear with me, this is for our sister, and a reminder to me as well as to all of you. Here we go, this is Hold Tight. I know this middle school student. Once a week in gym class, he has to climb the rope. About 2 feet off the ground, a bully pulls his shorts down. All I can say is, hold tight. I know this poor guy. 5 times a day he imagines the moment when his prayer rug will fly him to the balcony of a princess. Hold tight. And I know this rich girl. Every second she imagines a life unrestricted by castle walls. Hold tight. I know this chef. She can't boil water without the smoke alarm sounding. And those lobsters never come willingly. They hold tight. I know this clown. A smile never leaves his face, yet he somehow winds up in people's nightmares. I know this twin who always gets blamed for his mischievous brother's antics. I know this doorman who asks, "How are you?" 6,000 times more than he gets the chance to respond that he too is human. He continues to hold that door open. Hold it tight. I know this immigrant who has never seen snow. And this sister who takes the fall for her friends every time. Hold tight. I know this liar who only embraces the truth when nobody is looking. This fire that burns less when fed more wood. This tire that squeaks loud but never gets the grease. These road conditions were never meant to break you. But how well do you bend with tampered brakes during 5 o'clock rush hour while slipping on December slush? How does light bend when high beams highlight your allegiance to your highness? All your life you've been pulled over for going the wrong way on a one-way when all along everybody else had it wrong because you followed the signs. Going on green, stopping on red, holding tight even as your eyes glazed over from staring into the bright yellow sun. I know you, and you know me. Not by name, not by face, but by our situation. It's got a name, it starts with Islam and ends with phobia, but never forget, it starts with Islam. It's got a face too. Nicotine gushes from its nostrils, a heat-seeking horn protrudes from its forehead, red eyes that never blink. But never forget those eyes bleed the same tears as yours and mine, so hold tight. And one day you'll find yourself lounging in a palace constructed with bricks of light, showered by their warmth so welcoming, like a bath brewed with salts that melt your pain to puddles you can splash. Feel the jet streams thumping against your aching muscles, twiddle the bubbles between your knuckles, they'll pop you back to life every time if you only hold tight. This tug-of-war contest has pulled you so close to the mud pit, your toes can taste it, but hold tight. No matter the blisters, the burns, the blood that oozes from your clenched fist, hold tight. No matter the scars that remind you that you've never known a life without the haunting sounds of whiplash, hold tight. No matter the sweatiest of palms, or the shakiest of fingers. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Like she said, my name is Noor Wadi. This poem is called White Lines. Hey raghead! Yeah, I said it. Because my constitution told me I should. I can imagine my fingers around your neck under that scarf. I can imagine what your jugular must feel like, warm, pulsing. And no longer pulsing, they say. It's a great day when you don't wake up with chalk lines chasing your curves, raghead. But I don't know if that's true. I can imagine your dark eyes even darker after I give detectives a reason to draw those white lines around you. Hey raghead, what's the problem? Didn't you hear me compliment your curves? Didn't you hear me admire your eyes? Didn't you hear me say, I want to touch you? I bet no man's ever told you that before. I bet no one's wanted to rip your scarf off this badly before, so badly that they would lean out of their car at a stoplight just to tell you, you're welcome. Dear Professor, I'm sorry I couldn't come to class today. A stranger threatened to murder me on the street. I don't know how you expect me to be excited about a class like the law of evidence when every chapter reminds me that they won't collect evidence if I'm murdered, reminds me of the number of times they'll call it misunderstanding, call it parking dispute, call it anomaly. We have no idea how something like this could happen. Call him lone wolf, family man, honor student, call this case closed. They don't sell study guides for how to exist between classes, but sometimes I imagine it's easier to study when I can pretend that the ghosts of white supremacists don't live in the pages of my old textbooks, curling themselves around the letters, whispering to me that these white authors never intended for my skin to have access to their words. Maybe if I crack reality in half and pour myself into the post-racial illusion, maybe then I can finally take a practice exam in peace. Dear Campus Climate Response Team, thank you for your saucer-eyed concern. I'm shocked that you're shocked that your students go through these things. What else did you think would happen? When the school tucks my tuition into honorariums for those who profit off my oppression, one man's brutal colonizer is another man's distinguished guest speaker. When professors teach about terrorists, except the white ones, when national security classes call our deaths collateral, it's no wonder men want to apply what they've learned in the streets, at the mall, in front of mosques, in the Oval Office, haunting every space with their voices telling foreign to go back home, because I remind them too much of the brown girl they are paid to kill in Iraq or to imprison in Afghanistan days full. These words they inherited from their ancestors conjure missiles in their mouths that fall between us like a drone or another crusade. But I should feel lucky, they say, because these words have yet to pour me into the dirt with my sisters. Dear 24-hour news outlet, start your live stream. Watch the Muslim girl try to build a home out of her own ashes. Watch her try to lift herself out of bed every morning. Watch her try not to suffocate when she thinks about white lines bordering her lifeless brown body. And isn't that the punchline? How her whole world is a series of white lines drawn to border brown bodies. How because of it, she could never find a home in this country or even above ground. But in spite of it, we refuse to perish.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you all. Noor, thank you. Thank you so much. What you just conveyed, none of us could possibly convey. I met Nabra, though I don't remember meeting her. I have spoken at that masjid several times, and apparently she was one of the volunteers at that mosque, and apparently she was one of the most active sisters there. And full of life, and probably used to attend all sorts of events on countering hatred and violence. I'm pretty sure she stood in vigils like this. I'm pretty sure that she's spoken to people about who she really is. I'm pretty sure that she's encountered, before that awful night, people that have said things to her, passing comments, just like our sisters always have to go through. I'm pretty sure she has read about victims, people that have died due to senseless violence over and over again. The types of things that we are exposed to with everything that's going on around us put us in this natural state of fear. And for some of us, we think that the answer is to hide more. The answer is to stay away from the public. The answer is to give up all of these activities and events. The answer is to try to be as unoffending by your mere existence as possible. Some people can't change the color of their skin, but their very existence bothers others. And we certainly will not relinquish our identities because we are afraid of anyone. The answer is not to hide. The answer is not to be afraid. The answer is to try to treat the conditions in our societies that lead up to nights like that night. That night didn't just happen without anything before that. There's anger, there's hatred, there's violence, there's the normalizing of behavior towards people that don't look like you or believe like you, that leads up to the types of hatred and violence that we see perpetuated on a daily basis in this country. There's a disregard for humanity, a disregard for someone on the basis of their religion or on the basis of their race or on the basis of whatever it is, a complete disregard that allows for a person to do away with someone else's life in the most brutal of ways. I cannot imagine how our sisters are feeling today. I think Noor did as good of a job as possible in expressing what it feels like. But I can tell you that we are with you. we stand with you. I'm going to wear this kufi everywhere. And Michael's going to be by my side. We're in this together. And there are people that love you, and there are people that don't want to see the country spiral further in this direction. And that doesn't mean attacks will stop. That doesn't mean that massacres will stop. That doesn't mean that people mowing innocent civilians down will stop. That doesn't mean that any of this will stop. But all we can do is commit ourselves to doing away with the behaviors that ultimately manifest themselves in brutal forms of violence. Every crime in some capacity is a hate crime. Every crime is a hate crime. There is a hatred that is behind that disregard. Every single one of them. It's not your fault for looking the way that you do or being the way that you are. It's our fault collectively when we don't make this society more respectable and more loving and compassionate and do away with the root causes of violence, whatever those root causes may be. So while we stand here and while we remember our sister Nabra, through the beautiful smiles that we see on those pictures and all of these articles, we're not going to think of Nabra and remember Nabra through the police reports or what her last moments were like, or as a disregarded body in a lake. We will remember Nabra as a young woman full of life and happiness and smiles that had her life taken from her way too early. We will remember Nabra for the way that her parents speak about her, for the way that her friends remember her, as a young woman that had many dreams. And we will not allow Nabra to be reduced to just another victim. Every single time we come together for one of these vigils, we reaffirm our commitment to our own humanity and to the humanity of those that are reduced to hashtags and political ball games. We reaffirm ourselves to them. And we recommit ourselves, particularly tonight, to you, our sisters, that have to live with this fear of violence against women as a whole. The heinous crimes against women that exist in our society as a whole, that are compounded by colored skin or hijabs. We commit ourselves to our sisters tonight as we pray for our sister. I'm going to say a prayer, and I hope that all of you will join me. I will make it in a way that people of all faiths can appreciate it and can also say Ameen and can be a part of it. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We call upon you, our God, the most compassionate, the most merciful, the most just, to place in our hearts mercy and compassion and justice. We call upon you as you created us with a purpose, to bring us closer to that purpose, and to remove from us any feelings of ill will or hatred that would take us away from that purpose. We ask you tonight to have mercy on our sister and to replace the horror that she had in her final moments in this life with eternal happiness. We ask you to be with her family in these difficult moments. We ask you to comfort them beyond the times that her name will be mentioned in the media. We ask you that as people move on and they still have not, that you still be with them, that you shower them with your tranquility and their mercy. We ask you to protect them and to protect our sisters. We ask you to remove the anxiety in our society and to replace it with courage and bravery. The courage to speak up when we see any forms of injustice, whether they are violent or not. For every form of injustice, if it is not violence, is potential violence. We ask you to never allow us to be silent when we see evil. And so we call upon you asking for your guidance, and we seek your forgiveness for our shortcomings, and we ask you to accept from us this prayer and this evening. Ameen.
Alright guys, so my GoPro died unfortunately, but we're all here, we're all joining forces together in support for the vigil, and we seek justice inshallah for Nabra and any other victim who's suffered these tragedies. Here I have Mu'adh Ayashi, y'all know him, local here in Dallas, mashallah, beautiful Qari. Your thoughts on what happened and what should we do about it?
What's sad is that these are things that happen, like Nabra, for example. These are all occurrences that we hear about.
Yeah.
But there's so much that we don't know about, and there's so many families that are ruined every day because of hate and hate crimes. And I ask, Yani, the only thing that we can do is we can just be active and always try to be like the Prophet ﷺ. He was an activist himself, so we should always push ourselves to be like the Prophet ﷺ and to be a voice for people who don't have it.
What action items should we do? Like, what can we do? What's within our
Go
power?
volunteer. Go to CARE. What does it start? What does it C? What does the C stand for?
Council on
American Islamic Relations.
Yeah.
Go to the masjid. Go do anything. Wallahi, there's so many, like, especially if people live in highly populated Muslim areas. There's so much we can do, but we're just sitting at home, and we think that just one tweet would change the world. But honestly, it takes more than just a tweet. We need to actually get out there and help out, inshallah.
Inshallah. What's the least we can do?
The least you could do is share and give awareness to these occurrences that happen.
And dua.
And make dua. Dua is the most powerful weapon of the believer. So make as much dua as you can, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khairan, bro.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.